it gives me immense pleasure to welcome on board for this session Mr. Amit Jain, the co-founder of Mitti Ke Rang, Dr. Rohit Singh Sir, the Dean, Oro University, Dr. Monica Suri, the Head, School of Business at Oro University, and all other attendees and panelists. Before we start, I would like to give the introduction of our speaker here. Mr. Amit Jain is the co-founder of Mitti Ke Rang, a social venture which is dedicated to empowering the widows and the single women to make them self-dependent through skill-based training that provides employment. Previous to this, Mr. Amit has worked as a senior analyst with the Bank of New York Mellon. Mr. Amit is also the regional mentor of change at Niti Aayog, our innovation mission, including SETU, which is a government of India's endeavor to promote a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. He is the member of Asia's regional working group at Commonwealth Students Association. He is also the core member with Pune Austin Sisters City Initiative. He has also been appointed as the Global Youth Ambassador of India by the Innovative International Charity and their World and World Literacy Foundation. He has also worked as an extended shaper with the Global Shapers community, a community which is led by people who are exceptional in their contributions towards the community. Again, Amit, it's really a heartfelt thanks for accepting our invite and being your webinar. So before we start, I would like to give a brief introduction about our university. Our university, established in the year 2011, Oro University is a university which is registered under the Gujarat State Private Act. It is also a UGC certified university. At Oro, we strongly believe in imparting integral and transformational learning. As integral and transformational learning, a platform wherein the students actually get an opportunity to embark their journey from learners to leaders. At Oro, we develop the holistic approach of the students, and as a result of which our teachings and learnings are not just confined up till the four walls of the classroom, but much beyond that. There are many activities under many modules as discussed, which actually gives the students and at times the faculties to directly get connected with the community at large. One such kind of an activity taken by our Dean Sir himself is Oro Volunteer Abhiyan, wherein the students and the faculties get a close chance to work with the students of the villages. We also have a dedicated club by the name of Aadhaar that does activities for the upliftment of the community. Women Development Cell is one such cell that actually helps in organizing workshops and seminars to promote awareness among the women of the community. So, because at Oro, what we believe is community is one of our prominent stakeholders. And without taking much of the time today, I would now like to invite Dr. Monica Suri ma'am, the head of School of Business at Oro University, to give her opening remarks. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Shruti. First of all, Amit ji, on behalf of Oro University, I on my own personal behalf of also, I welcome you, and we are honored to host this particular webinar because it is completely aligned to the vision of Oro University as shared by my colleague Shruti. And you have seen that in Oro University, generally in the first year, we always promote the social internship projects amongst the students, so that before they reach to the skill sets and the competencies they are here to acquire in the area of management, hospitality, IT or design, they should first learn how they have to give back to society after completion of the program. So we don't create the professionals, we create leaders who can actually think of at the same time profit maximization as well as the wealth maximization in the best interest of all stakeholders. And as my dear colleague Shruti has already shared with you the kind of initiatives Oro University has taken by bringing so many community reach programs in the form of Volunteach and WTC and Aadhaar Club, which is the most active club of Oro University, which is hosting the activities not only for the urban development but largely for the rural development of the country. And along with that, our design school has created recently a library in one of the nearby village, Bhatpur village, which has been adopted by our founder president, Shri S.P. Rama sir. And there students go and they teach children in the schools in nearby cities and in various parts of that particular village. and they're sensitizing them with respect to various hygiene activities, education programs. So how Digital India is working today, and they are actually strengthening the skill sets of the children over there, not only with respect to their skill sets and competency, but aligned to Oro vision on mental, physical education and vital development of everyone. So with this thought, I'm just handing over the session to you, and because we are so keen to know what you're doing, as an entrepreneur, specifically as a social entrepreneur, and how your journey has started. And I'm sure you might have faced few challenges in the beginning of your career also as a professional. So we are keen to know from you your life story and your professional story, that how you opted for this particular foundation, and who are the people who are being associated with you as volunteers in this particular chain of community reach program. So it's over to you now for your respective presentation. Thank you so much. Yeah. Shruti, it's over to you now. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So shall we start with the session, Mr. Amit?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So over to you, Amit.
Done. So firstly, thank you so much, Oro University, for having me here this evening. Rohit sir, Shruti ma'am and Monica ma'am. Well, it's been a great pleasure because I've been to Oro a couple of months back, and I really love the way, things have been shaped there. Well, hello everyone, all the participants from Guwahati, Assam. Well, all would like to visit sometime the Northeast, but luckily this lockdown have given me more experience about how Northeast, is all about. Well, coming to the topic of Mitti Ke Rang, social entrepreneurship and School of Business, I'll just take you to a background of why we started Mitti Ke Rang and how our journey was and what's the future plan. So, well, I'm from Bhusawal, a town in Maharashtra. I did my BCom there, and I lost my father when I was 3 years of age. So, till my graduation, my complete accommodation, food, and everything been supported by my family members. And grandfather opened a shop, a tailoring shop for my mother. So that was a motivation, and that's how we led the life. And all the time, the family has been a great support. So then in 2012, after doing my grad, I moved to Pune to look for a job. And I just came in Pune in 2012 with 1,000. So we didn't have that much money at that time. And also people used to tell me, that if you do BCom, that no one will give you a job, because that time in 2012, you need a doctorate or, you need an engineering and all. But luckily, after doing a 1 month interview with a lot of companies, Bank of New York hired me. And I was from a rural town, Bhusawal, and Pune was pretty big for me. So even a minute thing like a mall, like a Domino's Pizza, we think it's a very small, but that time when you come from a rural background, so it's very big for you. So that time I experienced that. In 2 years, I tried to understand what is Pune all about and how things operate there. And in 2014, my mom came to Pune. And at that time we thought, till now the family's been a great support with everything, uncle and auntie and everyone. It's time to give back. And frankly, in my mind again, that the people I had in my life, they were more of the opinion that I should be doing more, MBA and all those things. But luckily, after doing Mitti Ke Rang, started Mitti Ke Rang in 2012, in 2014, initially we didn't had a name, what to keep the name as. But we thought, okay, let's give back to society. And I don't know why we posted an ad on Quikr and OLX that, we'll be distributing books, collecting books from people, donating to a lot of people on all those things. So we did on Quikr, OLX, and we started to get a lot of calls for that. Okay, we want to donate books. And on the other hand, we search for community wherein we can donate this. And in the initial 6 months, I was alone working because, I was working for 5 days with the Bank of New York and then 2 days for the Mitti Ke Rang. And, most of the time we think that the people of low strata or low background are of no help to us. But frankly, in Mitti Ke Rang, I was able to get the first support from an auto driver. So we happened to meet at a bus stand. I gave him a t-shirt, and then, after a few days, he called me, okay, we know that you need help in terms of transportation. So I used to get calls. He used to go to the societies, collect these things, donate to systems and NGOs. That's how we grew from 0 to 1. And then a lot of people who donated us, we tagged them on social media, okay, these are the donors. Later, they became our volunteers. So from 0 to 1 to 100, we reached in 1 year. So that was a journey of Mitti Ke Rang in the initial phase. And again, I thought, okay, it's been 1 year now, so let's continue for another year. So slowly, we kept improvising, and doing an MBA was always on the back of my mind, because again the people who were in my connection, my family and my relatives, friends, you know, you need to do MBA to grow more and to earn more money. So I started again studying, but I'm not sure why, you know, I just kept doing Mitti Ke Rang, and that was a motivating part. And after 6 years, so in 2019, after working with a lot of community in Pune, in India, then I happened to visit Malaysia in 2017 and met Prince Charles over there, met people from 52 countries. And there, wherein the motivation grew more, because when we told them we're working for widow, single women, and many few NGOs have been working for them. So that's how the journey after Malaysia started. We started in like 12 plus countries now, wherein they're focused more in advocacy to create awareness, because I believe a widow, you know, we have in every home, because in terms of a mother, grandmother, nanny, cousins and all, no one talks about them and what problem they go through with. Luckily, my family was a great support. So that's how we were able to, you know, survive. But many women, many families don't have that. So that was a major part. And then we thought, okay, so very frankly, we worked as an NGO for 5 years. But later we realized, thanks to my co-founder, Mr. Saket Deshmukh, you know, when you hear the word NGO, the Garibi, charity, these things comes into picture. And we don't want to sell that, because that was not the right intention to, you know, support people. Because we had women working with us in Pune, widow women and single women. So we are a couple of interns from St. Mira College, Diksha. She taught the women how to make paper bags and all. And then luckily we got a first client in the terms of 5-star hotel, Orchid Pune. So that gave us, you know, more motivation. Okay, if people can support us, let's do it. And frankly, I did one backpacking for 10 days in the month of December. I went to Sri Lanka. Then again, next year I went to a couple of countries and cities in India. Then we thought, okay, at that time, you know, the work was increasing a lot, the Bank of New York work and Mitti Ke Rang, because we had around 30 plus interns coming in. We had a couple of them from foreign countries, and the workload was immense. You know, I used to work like 20 hours a day because a job, and then coming back home and working for Mitti Ke Rang. It was pretty tiresome. And I thought I was 27 that time. And frankly, when I talked to family, they were against leaving my job, because that age, no one leaves the job, that to where we came from. So I don't know what idea stuck. I'm like, okay, I'm leaving my job. I spoke to my co-founder. He also, you know, agreed to support and the team members. Then on a given day, I spoke to my manager, okay, I'm leaving my job because XYZ reason. And then I put in my papers. I went to my family. I told them that my company is kicking me out. I told them कि मेरे को job से निकाल रहे, because frankly, they won't never allow me to leave my job after this much struggle and all. But I completely understand their point of view, because if I would have been a parent in that case, I would never allow. But I left the job. I just had a saving of 1 lakh rupees. We didn't know what to do. So luckily, we had a first client, Orchid. We did a couple of projects with them, and then we started doing. So that was a journey from 2012, getting a job, 2014, starting Mitti Ke Rang. And coming back to the name, how we got this Mitti Ke Rang. In the initial 6 months, we didn't know what to keep the name as. I called my brother, ki bhai naam chahiye. He gave Mitti Ke Rang. Very frankly, I didn't like the name. It was a very desi name and all those things, because, you know, at that age, you want some fancy thing, this and that. But okay, now, like, I'm so proud of my brother that, you know, he gave this name, and we are so proud of keeping this name. And that happened. I left my job. We did a couple of more projects of paper bag and all those things. So that was, we used to work as an NGO. Now we moved from an NGO to a social venture, wherein being a founder, being a co-founder, we also earn a profit to sustain ourselves. The women earn the money with a lot of dignity. So we don't support charity. We support charities, but we don't promote, okay, these are garib, poor donators, because we don't want to promote that. So that's how they are earning a good amount. Now paperback was done in the month of June in 2019. Diwali was coming in. We thought, okay, let's move to a new product. So that's how the social entrepreneurship, the social venture, and all ideation which we had from a long time actually got executed. In 40 days, we thought, like, you know, on 1st of September, okay, let's introduce candle, tea light candle for Diwali. We had zero knowledge. We had one member, Rashmi, she came in, she taught women how to make tea light candles. And after making those candles, we thought, okay, we don't know whom to sell it. Then we started the promotion of everything. And in 40 days, 40, we were able to sell 52,000 candles. So that was such a surprising moment for us. We were able to sell all over India. We came on Shopify. Later, we came on Amazon as well. We did 30 plus stall. And also, if you remember, we had a lot of flood at that time, which was making us so problematic, you know, to continue this because of flood. But the whole team of Mitti Ke Rang. Like, I'm full of gratitude for them, full of thankful that, we were able to pull up this show. Now, again in November, after Diwali, what to do? Luckily, frankly, Pune was a ground for us, Pune, Mumbai. So we thought, let's explore the other part of India, wherein the backpacking again started. I left Pune on 8th of November for my backpacking. Initially, I had a thought I'll be doing K to K and A to B, which means Kanyakumari to Kashmir and Arunachal to Bombay, the complete India map. I started with Mumbai, went to, Hampi. So I did till Kanyakumari. Again, from Kanyakumari, I came up to Auroville, Pondicherry, and then I came to Rameshwaram, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Bhubaneswar, Kolkata, Siliguri, Arunachal Pradesh, and then Guwahati. So when the lockdown happened, I think before a week, I was in Arunachal because, you need to issue an ILP in a permit line to enter that, and they cancelled it. So I quickly came to Guwahati. I stayed here, and to bring back to the backpacking journey, I did for 4 months. I've traveled to 80 plus cities. I met so many women entrepreneurs, so many women who are doing wonderful work in the rural areas. And luckily now we have a plan to bring their story into the mainstream media, how they struggle, what product they make, and also the product they make, bring out to Amazon and Shopify, so we can sell it. And now after getting into a lockdown here, couple of people came in, Amit, how we can help. And again, myself being a lockdown in Guwahati, luckily I have a friend here who is hosting me. But what about the people who are stuck? And very frankly, very honestly, we thought, okay, let's start the project for 10 lakh rupees. That we do this for 10 lakh, will help 1,000 family with 1,000 rupees directly transferring to the account. That's how the journey began. And frankly, we thought we'll be able to raise 1 lakh rupees in the initial phase because people were in distress, people were in a saving mode at that time. But I don't know how it occurred. In 9 days, we raised 1 million INR. That was a surprising moment for everybody, how we able to, raise so much money. Now we had a plan to donate this to 500 family directly to the bank account. For example, if Dr. Ma'am, you tell me, Amit, I know this family who need help. So we have a reference of you. So we directly transfer to the bank account. So that's how all over India, from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, Dharavi, Mumbai to Arunachal, we did the transfer of bank account with more, verification. And 50% we had NGOs all over India in tribal areas, wherein we transfer the money to them. They purchase ration with that money and they distribute it to all the local families over there. So that's how the journey of Mitti Ke Rang at the current stage. And now we have moved the budget from 10 lakh to 20 lakh because we believe that more family need help right now. So that was a journey of past, present, and I'll just share in 1 minute what our future plan. So now, we believe a lot of women who are a tea vendor, vegetable vendor, they will be needing a lot of money to bring their life back to normal. So we are planning to raise around like 10 million, 1 crore rupees through fundraising this year, so that we can help more than 1,000 women to run their business, to provide a loan to them, an initial loan to bring back to society. So that's our major 1-year plan going down the line. Also for all the students, we have started an internship because we completely believe due to COVID, all have lost internship. So if you want to apply as an intern with Mitti Ke Rang, if not, we have a couple of companies who have participated with us, joined hands with us. We can move your internship to them once we are done with Mitti Ke Rang. So yeah, thank you, ma'am. So that was the plan, and that's how social.
Okay, yeah. I think, Amit, you have very well articulated and shared with us your contributions that you have made. I think it's a big work you are doing. So my question to you is, like, when you come up with such kind of social enterprise, first of all, you have to let people believe in you, specifically your team, because you shared in the beginning that, I never told them that I'm leaving the job. I just told them that I've been fired or whatever, right? So how do you make them believe in you, in your vision? And that's why they got connected to you, and finally they are with you as a team. So what efforts you did to bring that team to a common platform? I would like to learn from you this. Yeah.
Absolutely, ma'am. So I think a very good question, because I missed that in my 20 minutes what I was talking. So what happened, unintentionally, unconsciously, I just kept making connections. The moment I got a job in 2012, because I got a job also because of a connection I made on the road. I just said, hi, hello, what are you? We exchanged numbers. I told them I'm looking for a job. That guy helped me connect with a consultancy. That consultancy helped me to get with a manager. Then he hired me. So it's all because of people, connections, whatever achievement we got, whatever help we did for people. So 2012 to 2019, I just kept making connections. I used to work from in the afternoon from 1 p.m. till 9:30 UK shift. So before that, 8 to 12, then again in the night to 4, 5 a.m. I used to work. I worked for 18, 20 hours a day for non-stop 7 years. So because of that, with the work, Mitti Ke Rang, I was able to sustain, make MKR with my team, with my co-founders so big that I could think of leaving the job. And bringing the point back to your question, I just kept making connections. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all those platforms. And when I left the job, when we told people we are doing this, they were ready to support. Because for 6 years of Mitti Ke Rang, what we started, they kept getting all the update what we're doing. So when we actually needed more help in terms of money, in terms of motivating them to buy the product, so very frankly, we didn't motivate them. We just told them we are doing this. But the background we had for 6 years didn't had a thought in their mind ki inse buy kare ki nahi kare. They directly help, purchase, and we were able to help so many families. So there's a quote. Which I just keep following. Make connection when you don't need the most.
Excellent. So then I'll hand over the session to Shruti. One more thought that I would like to learn from you. Like in this in this lockdown time, how are you connected to your volunteers and to your team and to the people to whom you're offering the services? So how are you connected to them? Because I'm sure in many places there's no connectivity. They may not have access to digital things. So how are you offering your emotional, psychological, and economical support to them in this particular period of lockdown? Yeah.
Right. So I'll start from myself, because whatever things the people who are poor, middle, upper, all are facing, being into depression, being at one place, don't have access to family to meet them, talk to them. So in this time, my co-founder Saket is we talk 2 hours a day, because even I need someone to talk to. What happening in the world, how we should keep a calm, how we should help more people. So my co-founder, I talk to him 2 hours. I talk to volunteers, interns. I talk to my family every day. So for all the participants, that's how you keep your calm, even though if you're 2,800 km far from your hometown. Coming back, how the member have been keeping. So we try to call all of them every day. We have a group. We do a couple of Zoom calls to communicate with them, and the lot of connections we have, because 24 hours people are online right now. So if example someone needed a help in Leh Ladakh, so we just search on Google, on Facebook, if we have some connection, so we just pull their strings. We had a connection, we help them. So people are online, people a lot of time, we call them for help. So that's how so every coin has two sides, good and bad. So COVID also have a very bad impact on the world, on the economy, on the people health. But also the good side, we again came back to our senses. So if I correctly quote that what I did on Facebook, the COVID didn't break anything. It just bring what problem we already had in our life. It just came to our notice. So yeah, ma'am, that's how we have been in touch with all the member. And also, I'll just get my power bank. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So Shruti, yeah. So over to you, Shruti, for questions. I think we got, yeah.
I guess we have a question from one of our attendees, who's Parishi. So, Surat sir, can we have her audio please, so that she can ask the question?
You are unmuted. You can ask the question, please.
Good afternoon. Just one moment, Parishi.
Yes, ma'am.
Speaker would be back. Just one moment.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. The power just cut off.
It's okay.
So we have a question to you, Amit, from one of our attendees. So now she would be speaking to you directly.
Good afternoon, sir. It was very inspiring to actually know your story from the beginning. My question is, there are a lot of budding social entrepreneurs who want to go on about implementing their own ideas. So where should they exactly begin?
Perfect. Yes. So, again, to bring back to my backpacking journey, I met people from age of 10, 20, 30, 40, 80. We had a couple of women entrepreneurs coming with us. Even everyone has the same question, we want to do something. What to do, how to do, kya karna chahiye, how the ideation should be done, who would mentor us. Because example, if in your case you're a student, so you need people who would trust you. And frankly, the people who have been doing a lot of work, so to get their attention, the people, because even I need to talk to someone, we need to do something concrete to get their attention. So to answer your question, that is generic with everybody. And what you can do, what I did, I just kept working for 7 years. In the initial, we did cloth donation. Then we moved to environment. Then we moved to a couple of different causes. But widow, women, single were all in my mind. We will do it. But we couldn't do it because, we didn't have that great network. We were not that mature at that time. So what you can do, any idea you have social media, like example. Now you need to do something in Africa with fintech or whatever technology. You just search hashtags on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook. You'll get a lot of people working already in that domain. Text them, tweet them, DM them. They will be more than happy to help you. That's first. And second, whatever idea you have, just start something and just keep doing. No matter people support you, don't support you, just keep doing. And at one point of time, you will achieve what you want to achieve. So yeah, if I would have correctly answered your question.
Yeah, Surajbhan, Shriman is next.
Yeah, we have one more question. Shriman, you may ask.
Shruti, can we read his question if it is there in Q&A?
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir. Thank you for talking to us today. The question I have is what we see in organizations, organizations in general, as well as social organizations, that there is a lack of infrastructure. After the person who started it, he goes, there's a lack of infrastructure. The organization does not seem to be very coherent. So my question is, how do we create organizations which have infrastructure and they are able to sustain themselves even when the founding members are gone?
Right. That's a great question because, sustainability is the biggest question for every business, no matter it's a tech, non-tech, FMCG and all, and even an NGO, social organization. What happened, what I really felt, because when we started Mitti Ke Rang, a lot of people came, they told Amit, you should think of the point wherein if you're not there, if your co-founder team is not there, how the business should run. But very frankly, that thought should come after you run a particular thing for more than 20 years. If you start thinking that from the very first day, then after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, so you don't put yourself completely in to solve that problem. For example, Mitti Ke Rang, now people know it because, we all team work tirelessly for that without thinking ki bhai, we will be handing this to someone else. After 20 years, okay, we have built whatever we have to build, and then we will think, okay, who have really worked with us for this couple of years. Now that person is prominent to take the legacy forward. So very frankly, work for something 20-25 years and then think about sustainable model. That's first. Second, about infrastructure. Now in this COVID, what happened, even we had a lot of infra in Pune. We help women, they come at a center and work and all. But now I believe COVID, unfortunately, has really given a platform wherein 99-100% you should move online. Why you need a building? Why you need all the t-shirts? So on the infra world, I'm bringing the stuff due to which the company would be closing down because of this COVID, because they have a lot of paid employees with them, which is not wrong, but they could have moved online and given that employee a space to join another company who are working online. Another point, completely move online whatever work you've been doing. If you have women, children, organizations, you can go remote with them. So you don't need infra as of now as such to bring your organization back to that level. And the moment if you avoid these things, you can grow more. But if you have a lot of infra at your disposal, your entire time goes in saving that and not of thinking bigger and going remote and, reaching out to more than people from 196 countries. And this COVID taught us, we were able to raise so much money, help more than 50 plus NGOs. So now if I think, okay, Amit, let's start an NGO, let's make a building, let's buy all those things. But the NGO already working on ground, have invested heavily, we will be supporting them and not getting another NGO in front line. So all the students who want to go into social entrepreneurship, first of all, try to network. The moment you think, hey man, I can't go on Insta, I can't show my face, I can come on Facebook, I can do social media, is not my cup of tea. Don't enter into this. Social entrepreneurship is all about you reaching out to people that we need help, please help. And until and unless you don't make network for straight 10, 5, 6 years, you can't succeed, you can't make it more sustainable. So yeah, that's my point.
We have one more question, Amit. That's from Anonymous. So according to you, which sector in India is in urgent need for involvement of social enterprises?
Right. Well, every domain right now has been struggling a lot in terms of everything. But if you ask me, a particular domain is creating a network. Again, I'm repeating that point. If you want to help in healthcare sector, the women on ground, the rural, the tribal. So you take any sector, all the big companies are entering into CSR. To again talk about CSR, it's a corporate social responsibility for which Oro is also entering. That we have introduced rural immersion program to help more and more rural people. So that is like, you take any domain right now, all the big companies are entering into domain. You can search CSR, example HUL, which brand or which CSR project they are working on. So it's very simple. All the company need CSR, need volunteering, need support. So yeah.
So one more question from my end. So I was reading this article from OECD, which stated that social entrepreneurship is not that common among the people. There are just 4% of the people who actually move towards being social entrepreneurs, whereas around 40% of the people actually go towards being economic entrepreneur. So at this level, wherein we all are struggling for sustainability, because everything is, we can see in terms of COVID कि हमने कितना सब चीजें खराब कर दी थी. So how do you encourage the youth to actually move about it? Yeah, your story is actually encouraging, but like the youth, because see, this social entrepreneurship is never being taught. We have never been taught into our curriculum, into our syllabus. This is also a line that we could actually explore. So how, according to you, when the ratio is so differing, how do you encourage people to actually come ahead and take this also as a career?
Right. So I'll put up a reason why many people don't go into entrepreneurship. What happened is, whatever doubts I had in the very beginning, okay, NGO, how will earn money? NGO, who will fund us? NGO, what about my career? How I'll be earning more money? How my family would be perceiving it? And what my career would look like? How about my marriage? Buying a home, buying a car, traveling to all across the world. So everyone wants to travel the world. They want to buy a house. They want to marry. They want to make a career very big and a lot of money. Okay. So we all try to do whatever we can due to the instruction we receive from family, people we know. Okay, so what's the common procedure? Well, science, BCom, engineering, whatever grad, you go for masters, then you apply for a job in an MNC company, you get a lot of paycheck. So at the age of 28, you think, why I'm working? Or 27, after working for a couple of years. Then okay, you need to work because you have home loan, car loan, then you get married. So marriage is also good. After 2 years, again you think, why I married? So whatever you want to do, for whatever you're doing, then you regret why I'm doing. So the best thing is, right now because of COVID, completely agree, the marriage rate will go down. जो खर्चा करते थे, the fancy and all those things, you won't buy a home, you do a car loan. So everything you will be investing on your own self. So now what you can do is, to answer this question of you can't travel, you can't earn more money, you can't network, you can't meet people. So I did BCom, I did 11-12 science, I did BCom, मुझे MBA करना था. I entered into corporate world. The corporate, I wanted to do higher studies and go again for work. I started backpacking. And after backpacking, I started this social venture. So whatever dream people have, we already did in 10 years. जब भी हो पाया, because we work 20 hours a day in our 21 to 30 years of age. This is the right time. From 18 till 30, you just keep making mistake. Don't try to settle. The moment you make more and more mistake, you learn. In Mitti Ke Rang, very frankly, 3 times, 2015, 17, 18, there came a point where we have to think of closing Mitti Ke Rang. Because hum grow nahi kar pa rahe, we don't know where the fund would be coming in, what direction will be going in. I have a pressure from my company, I have a pressure from family to get married, to settle. This settle word should be removed from the dictionary. If this word get removed, we can do whatever work we want to do in our life. So that is the biggest reason. So now, if you enter into social entrepreneurship, there are many avenues. You can do fellowships. State Bank of India, all the big brands have their own fellowship. All over the world have their own fellowship. You can apply for fellowships. You can apply for Chief Minister fellowships. So that will also give you a job. You'll earn money. You'll get a direction of what is social entrepreneurship all about. And then you can start your own. But very frankly, try to work in a corporate from the age after your graduation. Don't go for masters directly after your grad. From 21 till 25, work in a corporate world. work for 10 hours a day, come home, work for 10 hours a day about a vision, about the plan you have in mind. Work 20 hours a day till you're 26. Then at that time when you have to leave a job to take your career full-time, your passion, you have all the resources available with you. But if you don't do this, but if you only work, you can't pursue what you want to do it. So then you can travel, backpack, earn more money, network with people, and do whatever you want to do. So yeah, keep working parallelly 20 hours a day for 10 years.
We have one question from Ms. Ankita Mishra. So can we have her audio, please? Ms. Ankita Mishra. Okay, so I would be quoting her question. So the question is, what are the do's and don'ts of a social entrepreneur?
Right. So this question should come once you're settled, again the wrong word, but once you're settled with the passion you want to do. Start something, work for 10 years and then think, ye galat hai ki sahi hai. The moment you gain knowledge from people, read books, read online articles, okay, this entrepreneur, example, Jack Ma, whatever big brands, these people have done. So they have gained that after a certain period of time. Their condition was different, their economy was different. So everything was different when they started something. But what you're doing, your condition is different, you have different mindset. So don't read about the work you are doing. Just do it, whatever thought comes into your mind, and learn from your own mistake. I completely agree. Learning from someone's mistake reduce your time. But the mistake that person does, the mistake they did, their background was different. So it might be the case your background is different, what work you're doing. So there's no do and don'ts, but only do I can talk about. Keep networking, and just keep doing mistakes. And don't listen to your family, your friends, because the background they come from and what you want to do will not match any point of time. They will be against you. My family was against me when I did elemental science, when I did BCom, when I came for job, when I started Mitti Ke Rang, when I did backpacking. They were against me all the time. But I was very okay being against, because what mindset they come from, they are very right at their point. They will not understand. They want you to be safe and you want to fly. So you have to convince them that you're doing right. There will come a point you'll not talk to your family for 1 month, 1 year, but later they will understand that jo tumne kiya, it was pretty right. So it's better to have a distraction from your family, have a fight with your family, have no talking relation with your family for 1 year, 2 years, 1 month, than regretting all your life for 100 years coming down the line. So, yeah.
We have one more question from Shriman. He's like, what do you consider as the 3 most important rules to run a social venture?
Network. Second, network. Third, network.
But yeah. So, Amit, I was just trying to, introspect something that when you were elaborating on the social entrepreneurship, to the understanding of all the students and participants, I was thinking that there are 2 ways to do social entrepreneurship. One is fully social entrepreneurship, which you are doing, which is highly challenging because you have to do networking, funding, everything at your level. And other is like in the form of a societal project, like Jaipur Foods are doing and Arvind Eye Care are doing. They are having a profitable model and they are charging from people who can afford. And they are doing CSR for those people who can't afford. So I think there are some students who are having such kind of already established ventures in the form of family business, maybe real estate or textile or whatever. They are lucky to have a already ready infrastructure with them. The only thing they have to do is, though they are doing CSR also at their level, the only thing, if they are highly keen to come up with the high commitment after listening to you, they can just go ahead with little expansion of the project, which should be taken as a separate compartment with respect to their industry, which has nothing to do with the profit, which has nothing to do with any growth. They have to simply focus on the CSR that you are doing. So it can be a combination of both also, that you have wealth as well as you have profit maximization also. So because it's not easy to accept that, because you have left the job. But I don't know how many people are courageous enough to leave such a wonderful job and package and a good profile, because it needs a very high level of commitment. And specifically, in the beginning I shared that the belief should be there within you that yes, I have this vision, and you have completely diverted from any materialistic vision, and you've already decided in the back of your mind, look, whatever struggle will come, whatever challenges will come, because it is already there in your mind, and not only mind, it is within your heart only. As Shruti rightly said in the beginning, that social entrepreneurship cannot be taught, it comes from within. So I see this project in two different ways, one which is fully social and other which is linked to some kind of already established business with a little expansion to a different setup. So what do you say on this? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I think you correctly quoted, because I'll just put another point on this. Even I had in mind, okay, like I'll just frame it in a different way. Okay, you have an NGO, you have a social. So how you will be earning money? So that the question comes in everybody's mind, and people are afraid to make it public that okay, we need money. The NGO founders, the NGO workers need money, the social need money. So what at Mitti Ke Rang we are trying to do? So this thought was being shaped in my mind with my co-founder. Let's make social such a respectable work. Okay, you need to make it public. The founder are earning profit. They are lavishly investing it to different projects, and we don't have any shame in making it public that NGO can make money. Until they can't sustain themselves, how they will be able to help more and more people? So that mindset needs to change. That's first. Second, coming for the students who have a high level MNC company in their own pocket, the fathers have been doing a great work. They themselves are trying hard to bring the already established company to a next level. If they want to work in a different section altogether to bring the company vision mission into CSR, into social, the best thing I would be able to suggest would be, if you want to start something, get a name, whatever name, start social media, and for 2 years try to work remote. For example, you are in Surat, you are in particular area, you're working, helping a NGO based in Africa, in South America, in Fiji, in Vanuatu, in Havalu. So those countries, you collaborate, you work with them, you help them shape whatever they want to help online, rather than getting into making an NGO themselves physically. This way you can help more and more people across the world, across India. And luckily, because of backpacking, I was able to travel all the states, meet people from Northeast, Arunachal, Nagaland, Manipur. I didn't went to those states, I'll be going after this. But yeah, I know those people. So try to work your social entrepreneurship remotely. Help those people how you can help with monetary support you have. Build a legacy, build a pipeline, or build something for 2-3 years. And then think, okay, what I have to do? Because very frankly, the thought you had on the very first day, after 3 years, would be completely upside down, as we talk in Stranger Things. So, it would be completely opposite. You will learn from your own mistake by helping others. The moment you help others, you learn mistakes more, than doing it yourself. You should do it, but that's how the other way around you can do it. So yeah, you can start something on social media and then start helping people.
And another biggest challenge for NGOs is there's a terminology called astroturfing. When you collect the funds for a particular cause and you utilize it for your personal cause. So I think this is a very common fear when people look for funding in industry, or maybe, for example, if you're saying when 1 rupee of the pricing of this particular product will go for child education, or maybe women development or so. So I know your actions are very much validating what you are doing. But generally, I feel that these NGOs and the companies who are aggressively doing social marketing, I think in that way, they have to be answerable and they have to suffer from that astroturfing just because of some bad names in industry. Because some people have actually, misused that funding and then utilized it for their point. And we have seen so many scams like Kingfisher and many more. So there are many in list, but I think largely we all know about that. So what do you say? What do you want to say on this? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. First of all, if we think कि ये term क्यों आया? Why this thought came, this term exists? Because they did it. They didn't make it public. What if they had a chance? What if they had an environment wherein they had a thought कि okay, whatever we are doing, because frankly, no matter what NGO says, what social people say, companies say, they need money to sustain themselves. And because people think that in social, if you are getting 100 rupees funding, you should be spending 100 rupees. You, me, everybody know it's not liable. So it's not viable. ये कैसे होगा? So if we could give an environment to them, ki, bro, you can make it public. Ki, okay, you're earning a profit to sustain yourself, you're helping them. Donors would be more than happy to support you. So again, bring back to that 52,000 candle we were able to sell. Before 2 months, we announced publicly we are a social venture. We are earning a profit and we are helping the women. People love the transparency and they supported more and more. So the company, the brand who think the bad name came in because they were doing this thing, because they wanted to sustain themselves. And nobody gave them a room to make it public. Okay, we can do this. So the moment you give it a room, the listeners, the viewers who are listening to me, the moment you make it public, people will be like, wow, ये हमने कभी सोचा ही नहीं, ये भी हो सकता है. And when you say it public, the doubt will vanish.
You're right. As you're talking about transparency, specifically the financial transparency, and today is the era of social media. On the blink of eye, when one negative comment about any of us or NGO or company will go on social media, then we cannot stop and take it back. And that actually spoils the reputation. So I know it's very difficult to polish the image and retain and sustain with that kind of image and goodwill that actually you are sustaining. It's very, very rare. I'll be very honest to you, because in the mid of their life, many times their goals get diverted. Because once, I'm sure, many times, specifically with the youth or maybe anybody who is sustaining since last so many years, and once they have full-fledged family, they have children, then it's difficult for them to transfer their vision to them in future, because maybe they don't have that vision in their mind to come up with that kind of expansion plan. They want to do something different. As you said, it doesn't matter that if your father is a doctor, you'll also become a doctor. You may have different plans and goals for you. So how do you deal with such kind of, situation? Yeah.
Right, ma'am. So, what I learned from a mistake, it was a very big mistake I did, and I was trapped in that key. When you start something, I started social, so people want to highlight. So many media publish it. Many news media publish in the very beginning, 2014, 2016. And very frankly, what happened, the moment media publish you, your ego becomes double. Okay, I'm the boss. And then you start telling people, okay, do this work, and you stop being an employee, but you became a boss.
Yes.
Which I did. And that was a very big mistake I did. Because of that, what happened, all the thought you have of being a poor from the childhood till graduation, getting a job, it vanished. And then you think of media perspective, okay, I will do this, media will publish this. I'll do this, media will publish this. And being a 21, 22, 23 years of age, that is a big thing for you. Because you want to show to people, oh my God, I'm into media. So that happened, and we didn't really approach to media to publish, but they started publishing it. And that also went in our head, okay, this mistake we did. So then we realized, okay, let's stop everything. For 2 years, we stopped everything. We focused more on work. And also for me, leaving the job, again, that was another point. You're earning in you're traveling, you have everything. The thought of being a poor, which is wrong, but the mindset you have and attitude you have towards people changes when you earn money, when you have Audi with you, when you have a lot of people with you. So again, bring me back to that, okay, I'm a poor, I don't, right now I have this 5K in my account. I don't know what I'm going to do next. But that mindset again bring me back into the mindset of 2020. Because whatever I learned in 2012, when I didn't have enough money, and now when I was having money, so mindset pura change ho gaya. So again, I came back to zero to start from scratch to bring myself again to that level. That's first. Second, to all the viewer, avoid media. Even till now, we try to avoid media as much as we can. Because then you lose your main work focus. You just work for lavish, just for, print and all those things. So yeah, man, there's two things which really,
And another important thing is how did you handle any criticism in the past? I'm sure you might have critics also who might have, pointed out in the kind of work you are doing, and I'm sure you might have faced that also. So how did you handle that criticism as a professional?
In the initial 2 years, I went into depression. I thought why they are saying that. Then I started working according to them. Later I realized, which I really did in my childhood as well, in my graduation. Kya hota hai ki example, I'll take you back to a 12th, that you're in 12th, 10th or a grad. Whom you take up suggestions from? Your family, your friends, your cousins. And very frankly, the example, if I want to do my first year, you want to apply to any, in Lady Shri Ram College in Delhi, in Xavier's and all the big notch college. So the people from whom we take opinion, they have never went in their life went into those colleges, never experienced that. So I'm talking about 90% of the people. 10% have that network through which they can get the right knowledge, but 90% don't have the knowledge. हम उनसे फुकट का ज्ञान लेते हैं, so I call it फुकट का ज्ञान, which I also took कि भाई ये करूँ, वो बोलता है ऐसा करो, but उसको पता ही नहीं है कि ये होता क्या है. He or she will just give knowledge on the basis of WhatsApp University, which is now, but before it was newspaper university. कि भाई ऐसा ऐसा करो तो ऐसा होगा. So that happened with me. So that's knowledge we take after grad कि क्या करना है. So then people criticize us कि okay, I went to depression. Later what we started doing is, for example, XYZ person is giving a ज्ञान कि हमें ऐसा करना चाहिए. We think about the background the people coming from. Okay, example, a person who is working full time in a company tells me, this is wrong. Dude, you have done engineering, you're working in a corporate, you're working there, and you're telling me about social. Right? So I'm like, at least show me some experience, about 20 years you have worked into this particular domain. Then give me freaker knowledge. If you don't have an experience, how can you talk? So now people who criticize us, if someone into social from 20 years, I myself call him or her कि भाई बता क्या गलत कर रहे हैं, and we will apply it. But if you give me ज्ञान, if you don't have any background, it's of no use to us. So that's how we started, taking the criticism forward.
There is a question in question answer panel.
Yeah. So Anjali, are you online? Can we have our audio, please?
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am, and all teachers of them. Ma'am, I want to say that as sir mentioned that students should not go to after grad, they should not go to masters. But mostly in our in India, it's preferred that students should just go to masters because they should not waste their time. Because in management or any field, they prefer young mind so that they can learn more and get in more and they can evolve more. So what you would like to say on this?
Yes, so if I've correctly understood your question, you're trying to say that after 12th people ask you to do grad and then do masters, so you can gain more experience, and
yes sir.
Need fresh people
because it's only as much as you're young, more you can learn. So what you would like to say on this?
Right, देखो होता क्या है ना, I'll tell you something which I learned myself. I went to Bank of New York. सबसे पहले तो Bank of New York. So I can't go to Bank of Maharashtra. That time it was big for me. Getting into Bank of New York, oh my God, talking to from Boston and all. And so that was a very thing. So we think going to a MNC and trying to gain, just a second. So trying to get into a MNC, people tell you need fresh knowledge and this and that. It's all wrong because corporate you just work what they tell you to work. In my 7 years in my corporate, I did the same thing for 7 years. I sat on that same table for 7 years. Hello? Is it audible?
Yes, this is fine. Go ahead.
Okay, good. So people tell us that corporate ye hai. So I worked 7 years the same thing. I sat on the same table, drank same coffee, talked to same people, and did the same work. So the people tell you MNC, oh my God, you'll learn so much things, you'll do those. Sab jhoot hai. So again, because I think I missed to quote this, the biggest truth in the world, that everything is a lie, whatever we have heard from the very beginning. The only point I could say, because I had that experience of 7 years, just work for your own organization. So now, how I learned this much, if I would be working with BNY, Bank of New York, for 7 years, I would have network zero, grown zero, knowledge zero. I was working at the back end for my own Mitike Rang for 7 years. That helped me to learn what my company couldn't teach me. So yes, you can go to a corporate, you can learn from them, but until unless you did something on your back end, nothing will, help to grow more. And again, what you correctly said, कि भाई घर वाले बोलते, parents बोलते, ये करो. So you can, see my earlier talk, what I just told, they will tell you. You just believe in yourself, focus on it, do it. After a couple of years, they'll come back to you and they'll tell you that तुमने सही किया है, we are proud of you. But if you have the guts to cry, to go into depression, to not talk to family, people, If you have the gut for 5 years, for 6 years, you'll achieve your life, whatever you want to. But if you don't have the gut, if you can't see people crying, your family not talking to you, then you can't do anything, very frankly. Hope I answered the questions.
We have one more question. Like, we have many questions, but we would be taking about 2 to 3 now. Meghna ma'am, can we have her audio, please? No.
Yourself, please.
Meghna ma'am?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Nice to see you, Amit. Nice to see you virtually, and we welcome you to Oro University. It was nice to meet you when you came to the university and when you shared your story with me. And this session, as our last meeting, was again very inspiring, not only for the youth, but I think for us also. And we are definitely aligned to this value system of gratitude and generosity at the university also. So I had a very you have covered a lot of aspects, but the question that I had specifically for you is, that this lockdown and this pandemic is a proof of what we have done to our planet. So what is your message to the youth of today, that what can they
I guess a network problem.
Yeah, I got a question. Yes. So basically, this is the right time if you're in 10th standard, 12th standard, grad, PG, working, a father, mother, to think about this thing that, whatever we have been taught, because I think Maharashtra government announced that all the people who gave the exam, who couldn't give the exam, have been passing to the next level. So only point would be, now is the time for 90% to go remote, to, just apply for, it's wrong, but yeah, just apply for universities where you can learn from, and just try to learn more on your own. Example, this webinar is a very great platform, because to the panelists, a couple of more universities who I have been in touch with, they were not able to move from offline to online the way Oro has did. Because, the way every day we have so many webinars going through the Oro University, it's very hard for people to move at such a rapid pace. And Rohit sir, Monica ma'am and Shruti ma'am, you were able to do it. So that is a point. If university such a big can convert from offline to online, we as a student and whatever we want to do as a youth, we just try to put all our passion, vision on social media, try to network, work towards it, because frankly, after 2 years, whatever jobs we had, whatever companies we had, they all are going to work remote. They all are going to change the way they used to work. Tourism industry is come to a halt. The hospitality is zero. All the big industries are going down. And for you, if you want to survive the market after 5 years, no matter if you want to start something of your own, you want to work with a company, or you want to do something else, the only thing which I believe, because I have did myself, again coming from experience, is just network. This 1 year, all have been into depression, into mental health. They're all trying to save themselves. So this is the right time to start whatever you want to start with, because 24 hours people are online and they are ready to listen to you. Yeah.
I guess I'll take one last question, because we have a next session coming up. So there are times when the social entrepreneurs actually fail. So apart from the family and the friends, when we speak about from the politics or the government body, what kind of support are the social entrepreneurs actually looking for? Because as my other question was, it is not that prevalent in our country specifically. We do not look up to them, as what you said. You have expectations, settlement and all that stuff. So we have not yet built up the mindset that we are in the acceptance stage. So keeping aside the family and the friends, what support would you like to have from the local bodies or the government, so that we can ensure the social entrepreneurship, the idea that is there, actually goes on till perpetuity?
Right. So, the word fail is not only related to social, because I think it's a social business, so it's really permanent over here. But the failing has been with everybody. And frankly, the social entrepreneurs fail less compared to any other domain. If you have seen the movie Chichore, so the guy after doing a 12th, he did suicide. He's into, but why? Because you have so much pressure of doing something and the mindset, what if I fail? What if I fail? So failing is, you should appreciate that, okay, I failed, I learned, now I will grow. So 20 years, 30 years, just keep failing, learning, and getting to your point of government and all those bodies, very frankly, everyone want to support. You have CSR, you have government, you have UN, World Economic Forum, Commonwealth, they want to support you. You want to show something, but you have to show them something, okay, this I did. Again, work for something for 5 to 10 years. Okay, and then ask for government ki koi help chahiye. They will be more than willing to help you. What people do is, they try to seek for help, which they should be getting after 10 years. And then, if in the 1 year of the starting the journey, if they think of getting help, they will fail because people will say no to you. Why they will say yes to you? What background do you have? And that failure, we assume we are a failed person. No one is supporting us. People don't believe in a vision. Dude, you have to do something for 5 years. And then you can, approach people and they'll definitely say you yes.
So thank you so much for all your insightful thoughts. We have a couple of more questions, but I guess the time would not permit. So maybe, I can mail you and then we can have a discussion over it. Now I hand it over to Dr. Monica ma'am to give the closing remarks. Ma'am, over to you.
Okay, fine. So thank you, Shruti. So Amit ji, it was so fascinating always to see you, and at this stage, whatever contributions you have made to the larger society, that is highly appreciable. And Oro University and Mitti Ke Rang visions are quite aligned. So I feel that where visions are aligned, hearts and actions will surely be aligned. So we'll look forward for more meaningful collaborations, and I think now we are joint family. It is not just one in isolation. So we'll surely join together, and once we come out of this lockdown, we never know till what time it will get extended, but surely we'll be in touch with you, and we'll surely take your help for social internship projects of our students, and we hope that you will keep mentoring our students, and specifically our social setups in the university like Aadhaar Club. Shruti is always highly active in spreading the awareness, but I think once you collaborate with her in that particular project also, that will actually be quite useful, and so that we can reach to masses, not a particular segment or strata of society, but to the masses. So with this, on behalf of all senior officials of Oro University, Oro family, we wish you wonderful future ahead, and please let us know wherever our services will be required. We are happy to contribute. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shruti. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.